Yesterday, I did a blog. I wrote a piece and had a video where California Governor Gavin Newsom was being interviewed by Alex Wagner on MSNBC. And he pointed out that a truity, right? Progressives and Democrats in general don't have that to go ahead and fight back. In fact, too often they are putting themselves on the defensive when they should always be on offense. And in fact, given the success of policies and given what they support for the average American citizens, they should never, ever be on the defensive for anything, because the policies that they support are generally middle-class centric policy. Even those on our neoliberal side have that edge where that's, they want to be inclusive of the middle class and the poor. So Gavin Newsom was correct when he said we have to fight harder. But you know what? Today in watching Morning Joe, I saw a conservative Republican, and don't misunderstand this, guys. Morning Joe Scarborough is a conservative Republican. MAGA and the rest of the Republican Party has moved so far to the right that he seems as if somehow he may not be of that conservative ilk. He is. And he gave a defense of democratic policies and democratic success like few I've seen in recent times, or maybe ever. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side, because it shows you in what Joe Scarborough did and how Joe Scarborough presented here. This is what needs to be done. And I hope folks follow this lead, follow the lead of Gavin Newsom and a few others when it comes to messaging, that is.
Let me first of all talk about, like this morning, I saw a tweet. I'm not going to even mention the guy's name because I just don't want to promote any of these haters who think, and I've been seeing it a lot of my adult life, where people just because the other party's in power at the White House, suddenly America sucks. I'm so sick and tired of people tearing down the United States of America because their party's not in power. And we heard it, and we hear it from the Trump right. I read it this morning in a piece where this guy who's been a so-called conservative writer for years is talking about the thin veneer of American civilization. It's all coming to an end. America is collapsing. America's failing. How many times do we hear so-called Republicans attacking our intel community, so-called conservatives attacking our military? This guy was attacking our military again. Let me lay this out for you. Let me lay this out for the American people right now. Let's just go down the list for a second. The dollar right now stronger against other world currencies than it has been probably in half a century. Poverty at 50-year lows, right? Job openings at historic highs. Job growth at a historic high. Our military, if you want to take the measure that's been taken throughout time, and if you look at Paul Kennedy's classic from 1987, The Rise and Fall of the Great Powers, it's always, what is the power relative to the rest of the world? And by that measuring stick, the United States is stronger militarily relative to the rest of the world than we have ever been. Not since 1945, since 1776. You look at our economy relative to the rest of the world, stronger than it has been. You look at poverty rates at 50-year lows. You look at all of these things that are supposedly collapsing. But I think the thing I take the greatest offense at is when you have people, when you actually have senators talking about how our military is weak and woke when they are tougher, and I say this with the greatest of respect, they're tougher SOBs than they've ever been. They've learned from the mistakes we've made over the past 20 years. You put 2,500 U.S. troops in Syria, they hold off the Iranians, they hold off the Russians, they hold off the Iranians, they hold off ISIS, they hold off Turkey, Turkey. They hold off everybody. And by the way, when the Russians decide they're going to attack, what happens? They're dead. They're dead in about 5 minutes because our U.S. troops are tougher and stronger than they've ever been. And yet you have Republicans tearing down the United States military because they don't like the fact they lost the last election. It's really grotesque.
It is really grotesque. He forgot also to say, and how do you associate yourself with right-wing fascists in Russia or right-wing fascists all over the world, right-wing fascists in Italy, right-wing fascists in Sweden? So there's a whole lot that Democrats have to go on the offensive if they really chose to do so and have those guys defending the policies that are very, very un-American. So, I mean, Gavin Newsom and Joe Scarborough in recent days and recent weeks have put on some of the best, not defense, but offense for what progressives and Democrats represent. Folks, that is how you win. People love folks that are fighting and sticking up for not only you, but for the policy they support for you. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.